everyone, my name is Katie and I work in the wardrobe department here at Theatre Calgary. You may recognize me from a previous tcTakeout video where we did nail art. It was a nice blue flower one, however many months ago that was. Today, because we are getting close to Halloween, we are going to do a fun Halloween look. It's going to be a really simple, really impactful one that only takes 3 products. So hopefully you have this all at home so you can follow along. But if not, all of these products you can easily find at any kind of drugstore. So what are we going to do today? We're actually going to do a spider legs coming out of your eye look. Sounds kind of creepy, sounds kind of complicated. Trust me, it is definitely very easy to do. The idea of this makeup is that your eyeball is actually sort of like the belly of the spider and that the legs are just coming out from your eye. It's definitely a cool one, super simple. There's almost kind of no way to like mess it up because guess what? All spider legs are a little bit different. So that's all good, right? So what are the 3 products that you need to achieve this look? The first one is black eyeliner. I would definitely say black liquid eyeliner is the best for it, just to really draw on the legs. Doesn't really matter which brand, whichever one you were more comfortable with, but definitely liquid eyeliner is the best. So the next product you're gonna need is a white liquid eyeliner. The white liquid eyeliner you're gonna actually use as highlight on the spider legs. So while you can do it with a pencil, a white pencil, definitely the liquid white liner is gonna be the best and the most impactful. And the last product that you'll need to achieve the look is gray eyeshadow. Definitely ones that are a little bit more variety. You can do more of the slate ones. It could have more of like the brown tones of the gray, but definitely a gray eyeshadow. You're gonna use that one as shading onto the leg. So as you can see, I've already put on a base layer. So I've already done my foundation, I've already done my blush, I've already put my eyebrows on. For the eyeshadow, because I was inspired from more of like the Black Widow spider, so I've added the red there, but you want to kind of achieve more of like a classic smoky eye look, just because that hides the legs as they're coming out, and it just kind of adds to like the Halloween spooky. So I did a nice little classic smoky eye with just the red in the middle. But you really can do whatever you want, but I would just encourage like a black smoky eye is the best look for this. Okay, so the first step is you want to choose whichever eye you want to have the leg coming out of. I'm left-handed, so I usually choose the left side just because it's the easiest for me to draw than like going over here and doing that. So when you're about to draw the lines, you kind of want to think about the spider legs. First of all, there's 8 legs. If you accidentally draw 9, that's cool, whatever, it's Halloween spider. It could be a little different, that's fine. But you want to kind of think about which way the spider legs go. If they're all going to go the same kind of bend, or if you're going to have 2 kind of going the same way, or not. So it's going to be 4 legs kind of like above the eye and 4 legs below. So when starting off, I usually like to go above my eyebrow to like first map it out. Long-term wise, it will be going into your eye, but this is kind of like the easiest way to first map it out, and then you'll go in and clean it up a little bit better. So, always the hardest part is making the first line, right? Ta-da! There's the first one. And it doesn't matter if it's like a little bit thicker or thinner in areas. We're gonna go over afterwards and kind of even it out a little bit. This is just more of kind of like establishing where the legs are gonna be. And you kind of also want to think about that your pupil is kind of like where they would all maybe meet. So it's not kind of like line, straight going out. You kind of want to angle. Yeah, I find it best at the end, you just kind of flick a little bit. So that kind of adds a little bit more spookiness. We will, like I said before, we are going to go in and thicken up the lines, but just so we have like, here's the base of what they are. So on the lower lash, you will eventually connect it more higher up. I sometimes start a little bit lower down, just so the skin under your eyes is a little bit more fragile and you don't want to like drag it too much. And it's just, I find it's just easier connect if it's from like here and then I can like lightly go in afterwards to do it. So you kind of, this is also when you think about where the body legs, like, are they going to be directly down here? I find on the lower one to use a little bit more of this space that's in here, because otherwise you're going to get into your nose with them. So kind of like the lowest one you want to be about here, so they kind of move that way. Does that make sense? There we go. That's kind of like our good base. It's not too bad. So that's what I mean. Like, the best thing is just kind of do it. If you start overthinking it, it's just gonna look weird. So now that I have the base of my lines, what I want to do is connect the top ones to go into where like the eyeshadow is. So then of course you have to go over your eyebrow. So I find either the best way is you kind of want to like lay the eyeliner on top. Just kind of like dab it on, because sometimes when you're going through the hair, it moves it around, it looks kind of weird. So that's, I find, is like the best way. So yeah, so it kind of looks like it's more connected to the body, to your eye socket a little bit better. Okay, and then on the bottom one, again, just kind of connecting where it will go to your lower lash. Okay, and so there it is kind of connected together. So now what you're gonna do is clean up the lines a little bit if you wanna make them a little bit thicker. It depends on what kind of spider. So if you're going for like the daddy long legs, they're kind of like the long thin ones, or if you want thicker lines, purely up to you. I'm gonna thicken up the base of it a little bit more and then keep the ends just a little bit thinner. I personally like that look. Purely is up to you. I am not somebody who is trained in makeup. A lot of this is just more from me playing around with it and having fun, and this time period has given me a lot of time to do that, and it's been a great creative outlet, as obviously we haven't been able to do too much at the theater. So having something that still gets my creative juices going and still gives me that passion that I love, that I have for the theater, this still gives me that. Don't worry about making sure your lines are perfectly like straight, filled in. You want to have that, like, it adds kind of like the spookiness to it. Like that. See, I just don't know what I did, but they're happy mistakes. As Bob Ross would say, happy mistakes. Is that what he said? No, what did he say? It was happy accidents. Oh my God. Yes, I had to change to a different eyeliner because eventually they start drying out. Okay, once you get to a point where you're happy, it's hard knowing sometimes when that point is when you just need to like stop, step away, stop fixing, because that's when it starts like getting more interesting. Okay, so the next step we're gonna do is taking the shadow, so any of those gray colors that I was talking about, and you're going to use a really, really thin brush. You can either use like an eyeliner brush, or I found a wingtip liner, and either way, you just want something that has gonna have a really, really narrow precision point. Okay, so then what you're gonna do is let's see, I'm gonna use this one, this little gray. I would say start with like a lighter gray because you can always build up. What we're gonna go and do is do the shadow. So this is gonna look like the shadow from the legs. It just adds that like extra dimension, that extra depth that makes it more realistic. So we're using a very light hand, tap off any extra that you have. All I'm doing is just kind of like lightly tapping in there directly into it, and then tapping off the excess. And you can feel like a real makeup beauty guru as you do that. And then starting at the very tip, what you're gonna do is just like lightly sort of follow the line of the leg. not actually fully matching it, but more kind of like randomly curving it. So think about how a shadow from the sun, when you're looking at your arm, it doesn't fully totally match you, but it just is like a weird distorted round shape. Kind of think of it like that. Again, there's no right or wrong way to do this, but just the best is just starting light and building up. You can do that kind of connecting, finding like where the bend is. It doesn't need to fully be along, like you just do. Again, just think about how shadows work. So as you see, it kind of just adds that little bit of extra 3D dimension instead of thinking that it's like a 2D flat thing. This just gives it that little bit more oomph to it. Awesome. And so there is our shadow. So like I said, it's just giving that little bit more extra dimension, so you feel like it is actually a creature coming out of your eye, that it is having some fun. Okay, so before I add the highlight, which is the white eyeliner, I'm just going to blend in a little bit more on my eyeball, the body. So taking some of the darker shades from my palette, whatever you kind of used to create your look, you just kind of want to dab it on the very ends, just so it blends in a little bit better, kind of growing up a little bit on to the leg, so it doesn't fully have just like an end point. Because I like to be fancy, but add a little bit of sparkle to it, because you know, why not? Need a little bit of sparkle in this light right now. Once you're happy with that, the last step, which I find really kind of pulls the thing together and really adds that more dimension and that depth, is the white eyeliner. So all you want to do for this, you can either use it on the brush that it comes with, or you can get like a really tiny eyeliner, lip liner pencil again, just if you want a little bit more precision. Depends on how I feel on the day is what I do. What you kind of want to do is just highlight kind of the bends, the ends, just in 3 little spots. So you just, and again, no kind of real rhyme or reason, just kind of like plop it just to highlight like where would the light be. And And there we go. So it just needs some quick little simple touches just to add that little bit of extra pop. It just gives you more of that like spooky dimension. Okay, so to finish it up, you can either do the same thing on your other eye. You can do a few legs coming out of your mouth if you want to, totally fine. I'm actually gonna pop on, I'll do a little eyeliner, do it on the lash, and I'll be right back, okay? And there we have it. Here is our final look. So I added a nice fake lash. I did some liner. Also did a wonderful spooky black and red ombre lip. Also drew them out just a little bit extra on the corner because it's Halloween. Let's have some fun. And of course, had to decorate myself as well because that's what I like to do. We have to be festive, right? Thank you all for watching and have a spooky Halloween.